The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Now broadcasting from the Right to Offend Media Studios in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, art, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report Live with Sam Whitfield.
But giving offense is good. In fact, it's essential.
Well, I'm not sure really what happened with Rumble Studio there, but we had a few glitches, but anyway, we're here, and it's Wednesday night, so welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm Sam Whitfield, joined as always by the mighty Max Sand and the mighty Morpheus as well. Two cripples and a giant as the lineup goes. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
Doing all right. Moving a little old man slow tonight, but I got here before Sam, so we're good.
That is true.
He might be old and crippled, but he's not that old and crippled, Sam.
So, I did call him Mighty Mort though, which is true. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's kind of been a slow news week this week, but turns out a lot of people are still talking about like various news events from last week. However, like Max has a quick news story that he wanted to start the show off.
I mean,
with,
it's pretty big. Trump went on like a commuting spree today.
Yeah.
The big one for me is that he commuted the federal sentencing of Larry Hoover, which is like an old school thing. Like he's the founder of the Gangster Disciples. He was convicted of the murder of Pookie. What was Pookie's name? I'm sorry, I don't remember Pookie's real name. It was William something. In 1973. And he didn't actually even pull the trigger, by the way. But he got sentenced to life or like 200 years or something. And then he got convicted again from prison in 1996 in what many people feel was like a setup by the Clinton administration to frame him as like still leading the gang. When he has been very vocal. In 1996, he released a book about how he was reformed and things. The reason I would know about him is because Ghetto Boys, they had him on their record in the 90s. Was it Resurrection? And just in between the songs, they had an interview with him from prison talking about prison culture, the problems with the prison state as it exists, youth culture and things like that. And he was advocating for, moving away from the gangster life. He was trying to work out truces between gangs outside because he's like an OG, right? So they at least respect him enough to listen. And so, yeah, there's been a significant portion of the hip hop community, let's say, and the black community at large that has been screaming free Larry Hoover for a very long time. He will not be free. This is the downside. He's still facing his 200 years in Illinois, but federally his charges are cleared. So I imagine, barring the governor really wanting to be a dick in Illinois, they will probably let him go. But they're going to have to resolve that first.
Yeah.
Also pardoned today, and this is going to be the one you'll see more headlines about, I reckon, is NBA YoungBoy, the rapper.
I did see something about that already before we came on the show. Yeah. So
Now, I am not a fan. He's from that drill scene, musically, where the hip hop is basically actual gangsters talking about killing each other and coding it and bragging about it and things like that. However, he doesn't seem to do a lot of that kind of thing. And what he got all these charges for is like gun related stuff, like just possessing a gun.
oh.
And that's why he's getting a pardon. Also in the mix, maybe you'll even see more of this one, is Julie and Todd Chrisley, who are reality TV stars. Convicted of conspiracy to defraud banks out of more than $30 million.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know the specifics of that case. Also, former GOP representative Michael Grimm for tax fraud, and former Connecticut Governor John Rowland, who was found guilty of political corruption charges and was convicted in 2 separate federal criminal cases.
Wow, I mean, yeah, he really did go on a pardoning streak today then, I guess. So
yeah, but the Larry Hoover one, I wanted to point out that's kind of funny because that's something a lot of people thought Obama would do.
yeah.
In fact, Kanye, oh my God, how is he going to come back up? When he was still Kanye, okay, so we're going back in time a bit, forget that he's, a gay fish. In 2021, he did a charity benefit to raise money with Drake, and it was free Larry Hoover, right? So this is something that's been a big deal amongst the hip hop and black community for a very long time. And they thought it was a slam dunk that Obama was going to do that. And they mentioned that. That's why I bring Kanye up. He mentioned that at the benefit in 2021. He said, not only did Obama have 8 years to do it, but it wasn't until the white guy come along after him that does it, And there is a segment of the black community, particularly in Chicago, that feels that that's sort of a betrayal because Larry Hoover represents something to them.
Right. Well, especially in Chicago, and you would hope that with, Obama being Mr. Chicago, supposedly.
Right.
That would be his boy, or something like that. So
yeah, but he has a few beliefs, a few ideas that aren't really mainstream for Democrats to have.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah. I don't want to get too much into it, but he's not a diversity kind of guy. He's not a woke kind of guy. He's an old school black gangster from the 70s who's been in prison since then. So what do you think? How woke do you think he is?
Probably not.
Maybe like 5%.
Yeah, like 5%, and that's all on like black identity issues, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty much it. When it comes to women, when it comes to gay people, he is not on, and that is exactly why he was considered too toxic for Obama to touch.
Yeah, well,
so he just rotted in prison, even though they kind of knew
President Trump can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly. But they kind of knew that was his chance. They also knew he kind of deserved it. The book he wrote has been turning gangsters away from the street life since 1996. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, no one who...
Isn't it funny that 1997 is when he got all those charges after he wrote a book about being reformed and not getting into gangs, and it got circulated through inner cities? Yeah. It's almost like, and this is why the black community wanted him freed. This is what the Ghetto Boys said. It's almost like the Clintons wanted him out of the way because he was going against it, because you remember they had just passed the Joe Biden crime bill.
Yep.
Well, I don't know, Max, if you're familiar with Star Parker at all. Have either of you heard of her?
The name sounds familiar, but I can't say why. Can't place her.
Well, she's I don't know exactly how.
See, I was gonna do a yes and then say some absurd thing, but I don't want to offend a person that I don't know. So no.
Well,
I was gonna be like, yeah, they're, and then say some crazy occupation, but then I realized that that's a real person, and
Well,
they might be offended.
well, long story short, well, we are on Right to Defend Media, and
Yeah, but I
she's-
try to pick my shots.
No, I know. And by the way, she has offended like a lot of left wingers. So, I actually saw her speak. Oh God, probably like 14 years ago now. I was still back in Denver. When I saw her speak. She was at a
This is a long-term crush. I got it.
No, well, I mean, I don't.
Is she
She
the
was
origin
in-
of the milk crushes?
No, no. Well, I mean, she was in her 60s then.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But no, she's a pro-life activist. A black pro-life activist. So the left hates her. On that alone. And she.
How dare you try them to stop aborting black babies? What is wrong with you? Yeah, they hate that.
And
They hate when you say we shouldn't abort black babies. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, well, they hate that. And then she also got in like hot water around that time because in her speech, which is the one I saw, and apparently she gave this speech to a couple of different groups. She said that black people were on the Democrat Party. She basically said that that the Democrat Party is a plantation, and that of black people are basically slaves on that plantation. And
Some
now
people say that people like Sam and I should be on that plantation.
and now that might, now kind of like post 2016, that might seem kind of like milquetoast, but back then she was making headlines because it was like, oh my God, how dare she?
Bill Cosby made headlines even around that same time for saying you shouldn't let your kids like steal and act a fool in the streets. Right?
I mean,
he did.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hate to say this, but considering it's Bill Cosby, but like, is he wrong?
No, and that's why they fucking went after him with all those false allegations that you seem to believe.
Yeah.
If they were so true, why'd they let him out of jail though?
Well, yeah. There is that.
Also, if they're very true, then why did all the fucking accusers recount except one?
Yeah.
Recant.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the prosecutor is very similar to the Trump prosecutor. She literally ran on, I'm gonna get him. I'll prosecute Bill Cosby. Right, because the blood was there. But I'm telling you, man, if you look at the allegations individually, if you look at what was actually presented to the courts, he was convicted off of hysteria. And I think that as many black men who speak out about the Democrat Party, he was targeted and smeared as a rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the same thing to Tupac. They did the same thing to Malcolm X. They did the same thing. Yeah, if a black man dares to speak up, a famous black man dares to speak up against the Democrat establishment, by and large, he gets charged with rape within a few years.
Yeah, that the more I think about it, like that pattern, that pattern really checks out. Like,
And
I
isn't it
don't.
crazy because it feeds into like the oldest racist stereotype that people have, right? About black guys raping white women. They still do that. They still do the panic. Tupac didn't
Yeah,
rape anybody. Tupac, like, it's why do you think Tupac got out of jail before he was murdered, right? Is because he wasn't even fucking physically present in the building when the rape occurred.
yeah,
But they got to smear him as a rapist. Mike Tyson, there's another one. You've heard him. You know that he politically doesn't just go with the flow, right? What did they call him in 1991 the first time he spoke out about anything?
a rapist.
Yeah, and then that ex-wife suddenly fucking recants it after he gets out of jail and says, "Oh, I lied and I'm so sorry." Yeah. No, there's a history in this country, man, of them persecuting black men who get a little political, but not for the plantation.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying, like, Star Parker's, terminology is not wrong at all. They tried to smear her, for
Which is even what makes it believable to some people when you say that Diddy might not have done it. Some people will just buy that because they've smeared a lot of black people. Right.
I've seen that, and all I can say is we'll have to wait and see what comes of the Diddy trial.
Well, I'm a big believer in the theory that it's true that they have done this to prominent black men frequently, right? Where they've charged them with sex crimes, which may or may not have been apt as a way to ruin them. So as a believer in that theory, I still think Diddy did it. I still think Diddy did it. And in fact, the only reason he must have pissed off the Democrat establishment somehow that I'm not aware of. Right? That's all I can figure. Because he was entrenched with them motherfuckers since day one, right? Diddy was the vote or die guy.
Yep.
He was on with Obama. So he was always at the White House.
Well, people forget, and people get real upset when I bring this up. But like Harvey Weinstein was big in with the Democrat Party too. In fact, like Michelle was saying that, like,
and how he got out of prison too.
Yeah,
he's innocent now. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an uphill battle.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
no one's ever gonna take that serious. Like, they're not gonna listen to him. I'm sorry.
Well, nope. I mean, Harvey Weinstein, the whole thing with that is, like, he is kind of, unfortunately for him, like, he is literally the face of, like, a creepy. He's the guy you would cast as
he's the face of creepy Hollywood.
I don't know what he did. In terms of I wasn't there for any of these incidents and such, right? But one thing I do know is that whether he forced himself on a lot of those girls or not, he deserved punishment for what he was doing with his casting couch shit. And here's the sad, creepy fact, Sam. That casting couch shit is completely legal and it's standard practice.
Oh yeah, yep. and it's still going on, and it's not just guys that do it either in Hollywood either. Everyone,
and it's also like gay guys forcing you to go gay to get a role. This is something that's what Tupac spoke out about specifically. Yeah. And it's funny that the person he said that about, also DMX said it about, is Quincy Jones, coincidentally Diddy's mentor.
Yeah.
It's so weird that Diddy's mentor liked raping young men. Isn't that weird that happened?
Super weird.
super weird.
What are the odds that then Diddy would go on to also like to do that exact thing?
You know, those are incredibly interesting odds. But
Well, hey, you know, if I listen to some people, they'll be like, "That's a conspiracy theory, Max." You're right. Yeah, Quincy Jones just never did anything wrong, and all of these people that say he did are lying. And he was just the most innocent, sweet old man of ever.
well, it's funny that you bring up conspiracy theory. Max, it's funny that you start off with Trump pardoning a bunch of black people, because apparently Trump is also racist for bringing up the genocide of white farmers in South Africa, which, according to
Help
Wikipedia,
different groups, not based on their racial identity, and just help them with their problem. Totally racist.
Yeah, and also, like, perhaps the fact that, like, that, like, killing each other is bad on a mass scale, like,
Not if you ask Hassan Piker.
Fuck that dickhead. Max beat me to it, son of a bitch.
What is going on with Hassan Piker?
Oh, you mean besides the fact that he advocates terrorism on Twitch, and now they're actually getting heat for it, but they still
And gets away with it.
Well, yeah, I knew that, but, like, is there any more like development in
They
the...
banned him for 1 day
On the day that he normally takes off.
on his off day, and they think that that's going to fix all his promoting terrorism.
1 day, 6 hours to be exact.
And we, as Rumble creators, cannot help but laugh at the state of Twitch, because if we were the thing is, his argument is that Twitch banned him for critically criticizing the Israeli embassy shooters manifesto. What actually happened is that he didn't criticize it, he endorsed it.
Exactly.
And they banned him knowing that, but they're like, well, he was critical of it, and that's against our rules. So it's against their rules to critically read a shooter manifesto, which a lot of people are like, oh, well, see, it's not fair because the rules. And all I can think is, why the fuck is that a rule? It's not a rule on where I stream.
Nope.
That's such a specific and stupid fucking rule. Rumble would never have such a thing.
No,
which is gay.
And one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up South Africa, because people are asking, well, Sam, why is this?
I don't want Hassan to come to, just to be real quick, Sam. I don't want Hassan to come over here with his terrorist propaganda.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
That fucker can stay on Twitch.
I'm just saying we don't have those stupid rules here.
No.
Ahead, Sam. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't want him to come over here either, and I don't think I don't think many people on this platform would either.
No. He supports, pretty much every genocidal regime in the world, including not just Hamas, Sam. I don't know if you know this. He is very pro white farmer genocide in South Africa as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, that I did know. So, and on that note, a bunch of YouTube channels who have talked about white genocide of South African farmers are getting banned.
Because of course they are.
Off of YouTube. So
you can't talk about the plight of the white man.
No. So Trump met with the South African president because basically he came hat in hand begging for money, as most of these, dignitaries do, and Trump gave him, a what for. Before I go to that, though, I want to play a clip for you from Joe Rogan 6 years ago, because this was one of Joe's kind of, I guess, first red pill moments. If you because Trump got in hot water for talking out this back in like 20 18 or so, and people who are more rational like Joe were like, wait, Trump's getting in hot water for this. So anyway, and Michael Malice actually he's in this clip too, and he does a pretty good job of basically defining what a conspiracy theory is, as Max just did. So I'll play some of this and then we'll fast forward to today.
Michael Malice is awesome, by the way.
He is.
Facts.
I've actually met him, and he's actually a super nice guy. So
These like mainstream outlets.
Well, I know Lauren was referenced in a lot of the discussions that I was having with people on Twitter about people in South Africa who are farmers getting murdered.
Right. She had a documentary called Farmlands that she made.
Yeah, that was a weird one where people were getting angry at me and saying that I was reciting a racist conspiracy theory. I'm like, okay, but this is a racist conspiracy theory that a black person was talking about in front of Congress.
Right.
I mean, this is a black African guy talking about it on television in Africa, the problems with farm murders. And then there was that guy who was the one who wants reparations, who's in South Africa, who's a very controversial character, he was kicked out of one of their organizations for doing a song singing about kill the Boer.
Yes.
He's doing it.
Which, by the way, I want to point out, apparently that I don't know if this is true, but it would be funny if it is. Apparently, someone made a remix of that "Kill the Boer" song that they're talking out, which is more of like a chant, and apparently that's not banned on any streaming platform. But
Wonder why?
Ye's song is.
So there is a song, but it's become a protest song. You say it's just a chant. No, what you'll see in the video is just a chant. The song "Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer" is a song. It's like a full 3-minute song, but they don't usually sing the whole song as normal. Like, think about that. Normally you wouldn't, right? Look at wrestling entrances. The people sing along to the few seconds, right? It's at a political rally, so they sing the chorus. And number two, as a song, it ain't bad. It's a little bit catchy. Now, the message I don't get behind, right? I get it, but you gotta admit, like, it's got
sure.
That's why it's mimetic for them, right? Because it's kind of catchy.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, like, to be very specific, it's about killing the white Dutch settlers in South Africa. The Boer. Not a boar like a pig, like the BOER, because some people might not know anything about any of this, right?
Yeah.
That's what they called the white farmer people there, the Boer people. The white people of that place are called the Boer. So when they say kill the Boer, kill the farmer, well, you can tell what that means. I don't have to explain what that means. It's pretty obvious what that fucking means.
Yeah. But we talk about, like, edgy songs, and like, my God, that
it's an all-timer edgy song. They had motherfuckers down at, like, the big festivals they would have for, like, end apartheid singing that shit.
Yeah.
They'd be like, end apartheid, kill the Boer. Yes, They totally connected those two things too, by the way. They've been, like, there's been a segment of that ANC party that wanted to kill all the white people since before they had a vote.
Yeah, funny how and yet I get flack from people for mentioning that, like, Mandela, killed people and raped white women, allegedly. but we're not supposed to talk about Nelson Mandela's dark side.
No.
We're not even supposed to talk about white people being slaves.
You're only supposed to talk about the Mandela effect at this point. You're not even supposed to talk about him. Just the effect.
Yeah. Anyway.
And making gun sounds, and the audience is cheering along with this song with gun sounds, and it's about killing farmers.
The term conspiracy theory is a tactic that the press and people use to shut down conversation. If you think about it, Harvey Weinstein was a conspiracy theory. Bill Cosby was a conspiracy theory. Kevin Spacey was a conspiracy theory. Everyone knew.
Everyone. Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theories.
And everyone kept their mouth shut.
Yeah.
So the idea that a conspiracy theory is inherently false is itself inherently false. And it's just a way to stigmatize a school of thought or an idea that you don't want to talk about.
Well, it's also labeling it as a racist ideology.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, you're immediately and they also, it was because of Trump reciting it. Trump had repeated it on television, talking about something in terms of the issue with South African farmers. But it's one of those things that we were talking about before, where even if they know that the narrative is not true, it supports what they're trying to push, and so they run with it. And so
the other way.
I kept doubling down. I kept posting all these different things about it. I was like, well, what about this guy talking about it? What about this? What about here's some instances of these murders? And then there's also the reality of South Africa in general, which is extremely violent. There's a lot of violence and there's a lot of crime. And some of it has to do with the fact that these people that are in these farms are targets because they're out in the middle of nowhere. And whether or not it's racist that they're going after them because they're white, that's debatable. But black farmers are also getting attacked. It's not simply just white farmers. There is some of that, though.
But and
there's some of that. There's some of them are going after these farmers because they're white.
And the thing that's really disturbing is, are people happier if this is black people killing other black people, like the Hutu and the Tutsis? That was a big genocide.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's a problem when people are being killed regardless of their race.
Right.
And tribalism cuts across racial lines.
But on the other side, there was also some.
Which that's another thing too. Like everyone has this idea as of like recently that like that Africa is like Wakanda or something, and that all the Africans will just get along because they're all black. But I mean, that's definitely not the case. Black tribes used to like sell each other as slaves.
There's been whole genocides of tribe on tribe.
Yeah.
He just mentioned it. They're right there. The Hutsi and the Tufi and yeah.
Yeah, and nobody here in the US talks about that. When you bring that up to the left or even to like the people who like want to resettle in Africa, they just go, well, that's just Africa, and shrug. And it's like, okay then.
Well, why do you think? Hold on. Why do you think Richard Pryor was able to make the joke telethon for the Back to Africa Fund in the fucking 80s, and everybody thought it was funny? Why is that?
Because it's true.
Because on the one hand, you had all the white people calling in to donate money to the Back to Africa Fund, and then on the other hand, the comedy rates itself, right? Because then on the other hand, no black people want to go back to fucking Africa because they know it's shitty there. Ask Dave Chappelle. Changed his life going over there.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I even when I was in college, there were a few Haitian immigrants that went to high school, and they did not get along with the African American.
That's another thing. Is like a lot of other black cultures don't mesh well with African Americans too.
No,
and African Americans.
No, not at all. In in fact, like
I would tell
Africans.
you, I have a side in that, and it's like, well, fuck you, because the African Americans are my American brothers.
Yeah, no, that was my take on it. Like the Africans don't even see African Americans as people, at least in my limited
Some of the
experience.
more extreme ends of like Nigerian immigrants are exactly what you say. Yes.
Yeah.
Mostly though, they think that Americans in general are dumb. And then they think African Americans are exceptionally dumb, and they often feel bad for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they say that shit openly sometimes too. And they don't get the responses that they would like. I've seen this. But yes, there's all kinds of like inter-race racism, because there's also colorism among just blacks in America.
Yeah, no, it's really funny because like I wasn't in this class, but one of my friends was, and supposedly it was a group of the professor was a liberal white woman, and she thought it was a good idea to like put the African Americans in the same like seating arrangement as the
I got a
African.
similar story for you, Sam. So,
And apparently she was mortified because there was like racial tension, but she didn't know what to do because you know she felt like as a liberal white woman she couldn't really like speak out,
she
tell them that they
institutes
couldn't.
segregation and wonders why there's racial tension. Typical liberal woman.
Yeah.
Typical liberal woman. So when I was in preschool, Sam, this is in the 80s, right? In the 80s, talk about what in the North in the 80s, right? And my parents, as well as some of their friends, like my parents' friends who also had kids my age who were black. My parents happened to have some friends of other races, you see. They all noticed something about the preschool. There was a white kid class. There was a Cambodian kid class, because a lot of Cambodians live here. And there was a black kid class. And they were like, what's up with that? What's up with having a segregated preschool, bro?
Oh no.
And so I literally, Sam, my preschool then got desegregated in real time because they got in trouble. And why did they do it? Was it because they were a bunch of racist No, they were liberal white women. And they were like, wouldn't it be nice if we put all the black kids in the black class and all the Cambodian kids in the Cambodian class? And they don't even think about and all the white kids in the white class. That just happens, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
But then you walk into the school and you walk past classroom number 1 and it's all black students, and you think to yourself, maybe it's a mostly black school, right? And then classroom 2 is literally all Asian students. You're like, maybe that's the bilingual class. And then classroom 3 is all white students, and you're like, wait a second. I think this school might be segregated.
That's wild. So
not reinvent segregation challenge for Democrats impossible.
They're still doing it to this day.
They are
if they can.
You give them the opportunity and they will Jim Crow your shit up. And they don't even see it like that either. That's the crazy part. They're like, yeah, this will be good for the black kids to have them separated in their own class.
No, of course not. It's
the opposite mentality of the old days where it was like, this will be bad for the black kids, but fuck them. Now they're like, this will be good
Yeah.
for the black kids, but they're doing the same. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the Democrats might not be like, you know, dressing up in like full KKK gear anymore and like lynching
But they may as
them.
well.
Although I would expect that like deep down, you know, Bill and Hillary might still like want to do that because
They've switched though. They're a lot less on the side of wearing the KKK robe and a lot more on the side of wearing Hugo Boss these days, if you haven't noticed.
yeah.
Their favorite political
noticed.
commentator is a guy that openly supports anti-Semitic terrorism. I heard, Sam, I went to war with some of those alt-right Nazis, famously. I did the Cantwell stream a while back, right?
Yeah.
And I was under the impression that when Cantwell called for violence against random Jewish people, that everybody generally agreed that that was bad, right?
Yeah.
The left especially said that that was bad. But the right, too, also said that Chris Cantwell saying that you should use violence against random people to create a terror state that will get your political aims about screwing over Jews. When Cantwell said that, the internet said, that's fucking retarded. Why, when Hassan Piker says the exact same shit?
It's only better when the right say it.
Oh my God, Max! I just got an idea. We need a Chris Cantwell, Hassan Piker like crossover.
At the very least, like a remix where I show like Cantwell saying like violent anti-Semitic statements and then put Hassan's almost identical statement right next to it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. The problem is I can't do that because I have post Cantwell fatigue. So I can't go watch a whole bunch of his content to find it. But I guarantee it's out there, and it's basically the same shit Hassan Piker says on Twitch to 40,000 people who are probably all 13-year-olds.
Yeah. Well, you know,
So what you're saying is Hassan Piker is the inheritor of the 13-year-old army?
Yeah, and not only that, he's also the inheritor of the alt-right.
Yeah.
Facts.
Well, and also, you know, since the left is so, you know, concerned about like platforming dangerous opinions, apparently, that would mean that Twitch and by extension Amazon is like, you know, platforming terrorism.
Mm-hmm. And they're aware of it.
Yep.
They're aware of that conundrum, Sam. They're choosing to continue to platform him. They understand what you're saying more than most right-wingers would ever. Because right-wingers don't think about the platforming shit, right? Because we understand inherently that's a stupid backdoor way to censorship. But they do.
Yeah. No,
Twitch cares about platforming, and they're choosing to platform Hassan Piker. So, whatever that says, he literally, I've seen the video now. I was told this was true, and I had to watch the clips myself. Just a week ago, right before, like, I think it was 2 days before the fucking shooting, Hassan is on his stream with bad empanadas saying that you need an IRA-style terror group on American soil. Yep. Not even kidding. Go look it up, Sam. We can find I'll find you the fucking clips tonight. He was literally advocating for an IRA-style grassroots terrorism bombing campaign on American soil on Twitch a week ago.
I know that the FBI is like moving headquarters right now, but still, Dan Bongino might want a word with Hassan Piker.
Seriously.
I bet.
And all this attention and the suspension and everything is done has made him double and triple down.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I'm loving it though because like I had a time where I tried doing Twitch. I'm an OG. I was on Justin.tv. I was a streamer before it was Twitch. And there came a point where their rules and their culture, I knew I would get banned, so I've moved on, right? Found other places. I'm quite comfortable here on Rumble. To now watch them tear themselves down with their own censorship, with their own circle jerk. You have to be in our ultra left wing. It's not even like they're not even like normie, like Biden tier left wingers, which is crazy enough to the normal person nowadays. They're full on socialist, pro-Palestine, like any cause, they'll take it to the extreme. That's the Hassan people. That's Twitch.
Yeah.
Right? And then you call Frogan fat, you get a 2-week ban. You support terrorism? You day
in 6 hours. But you call a fat bitch, you get 14 days.
Well, in hell, if you eulogize your grandfather, you just get banned outright from YouTube.
Facts.
He read and explained that. Well, I'm not urging you to support the shooter,
I'm urging you to support.
But I agree with everything he says. That's basically when Twitch is claiming that he was critical of the manifesto. Twitch, Sam, is lying.
Facts.
Yeah.
Because he actually said, this is why he's right. This is why I think more of this needs to happen. That's a quote. Again, I could go through and do all the clips, but there's motherfuckers out there doing all kinds of Hassan exposed videos. I don't need to. No, like there's like 20 videos a day now of every stupid thing he says.
Yeah, I see clips in my timeline just on X of all the stupid
Shout
stuff
out to the one dude, Nux Taku, cracks me up. That
he sees. Anyway, so South Africa was kind of this is a topic that's been going on for a while. I don't really think we need to play the whole the rest of this clip from Rogan, but I kind of wanted to play part of it at least to show it's a thing that's been going on. What I do want to play though, kind of switching, hopefully you guys can see that now, is President Trump meeting with the South African president, and basically the South African president, can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he's basically plunged South Africa's economy like into like the fucking ground. And meanwhile, like he's like a multi-billionaire. And so he's begging Trump for money, and Trump basically goes, that's fine. We can talk about your money, but I'd like to talk about, this problem with the farmers being killed first. And that's kind of, up to that point, that's kind of where this clip starts off.
He's now made it. This is what I find great about these things, Sam, is Trump has made it to now where the beggar countries have to come before sort of a king's court kind of situation.
And it's great.
Yes.
And then the king gets to ask you questions, right? And so you have to come, oh, king, my country, we're very poor, you see, and we need lots of money. And the king's like, all right, that's tremendous, but what's up with the killing the farmers over there? Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, king. We don't do anything like that. Hold on. Turn the lights down. I got some evidence.
No. We'll get to that. So,
but it is. It's like a coming before the Lord to ask for a favor and then having to explain yourself. It's very funny.
Yeah. So, South Africa's basically begging for money, and so here's Trump's response.
For you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa.
Well, I can answer.
Oh, I love this too. So Trump's already brought this up, and the media is already like trying to cover for him, and then the South African president has the balls to try and answer for Trump, as you'll see in just a sec, which is beautiful. And you'll see why in a sec.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they're used to answering for the president when the president was Joseph Biden.
Oh yeah, we'll get to him later on as well. So.
It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying.
Can I point something out real quick?
Yes.
He is doing a very similar thing to Zelensky, and that's why he got ripped, which is, well, if Mr. Trump or Mr. Vance would just come to my country and see our side of things and take our propaganda tour, then he would understand my side of things.
Yeah, he's also like Trump is also. You even saw that smirk there for a sec when, he let the guy, interject. Trump's doing the whole letting him hang himself, giving him enough rope.
With his own rope.
Yeah, that's what Trump is doing, and in just a few minutes here, you're going to see this guy squirm.
Well, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, is you'll see that in a court setting too, is there's the guy that will get himself in deeper and deeper with the judge.
Yeah.
That's this guy right now.
Yeah.
If there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that. Is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. So whatever you want to do, we can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament.
Damn it.
Fuck are you showing? What the fuck kind of ad is this?
No idea.
Look at these kids with fucked up teeth. Give us money. You know what? Never mind. That makes sense.
Because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. To kill the mother, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer. Pa, 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 pa.
So I want to notice that this guy right here he's like looking all kind of like sheepish, and
he got caught.
Yeah,
that's because he's laughing, right? Because they don't ever call us out. What the fuck, right? Because we've been saying that he's probably thinking to himself, well, okay, that's Malema. That's Julius Malema. To be fair to this guy, okay, Malema is the opposition party to him. However, they have a coalition government.
Right. And he also has this.
So in a way, Sam, what I'm saying is he is having to answer for somebody that he doesn't necessarily agree with here.
Yeah, and that.
However, if you watch the original video Trump is showing, then it cuts to a clip of him doing the "Kill the Boer" song.
which I've actually seen that.
You'll see the leftist media's spin on it is oh, well, it's just videos of Julius Malema, right? And the more extreme party. But then they ignore the fact that, yes, one of the videos is literally this man sitting there singing the same fucking song.
Yeah, it gets better, though.
Because it was part of his campaign, by the way.
Yeah.
If you weren't aware, that was part of his campaign. Is his side was like, kill the boy. And Julius Malema's side was like, no, kill all the boy. That was the election, Sam. Oh, and then there was a third party that represents the boy that said, hey, maybe we shouldn't kill us. And they're like, shut the fuck up. We're having an election. And so, the moderate in this case, this guy's the moderate kill the boar guy. He wins.
Lovely.
And the media says it's not fair that he should have to answer for the extremist kill the boar guy because he's only the moderate kill the boar guy.
Yeah, that's like saying that Nick Fuentes is better than Hassan Piker. Or something like that.
Well, it's like saying like a low-level Nazi is equal to Hitler. Like, that's just not true.
Right.
You're the head Nazi, right? Or it's also like saying like the Nazi that's like, look, I'm down with killing the cripples. I'm down with killing the gays, but like, why do we have to kill the Jews? That's basically what he is. I guess to be a true Nazi, you'd have to be down with killing the Jews and then maybe argue about a different one. But whatever. It's the Nazi who argues about like killing one group of people.
What about the crippled Jews?
Well, the crippled Jews, I think they all agreed had to go first.
Of course.
If you're a crippled gay Jew, you just had no chance.
The man of TJPE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard,
that's him.
After a white man, they feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man.
Notice he stopped laughing when it was him.
Yep.
Yeah.
There will be times, no one. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness.
And then they just hand him a stack of articles.
The farmer, the brewer, the farmer. Shoot to kill. Come on, sir. Kill the brewer, the farmer. Kill the brewer, the farmer.
I love the
I'd like to point out too for the audience listening. Yeah, this is they're chanting this in like fucking stadiums too. Like,
for like when I say this was a political campaign song, I'm not shitting you, Sam. Like both sides
chanted it.
Except for the white farmer side. There is a white farmer representing party. I forget their name. Obviously they didn't use that song, but the other two major parties that were running against each other both would chant this in large stadiums in the last, not just this election, but the previous like 5.
Yeah. This is the whole,
it's like the Macarena, Sam.
Yeah,
I'm not even fucking kidding. This song is like the Macarena in South Africa, unless you're a white farmer, because that means kill you.
Yeah, and And like one of the reasons why I'm wanted to bring up this topic is the left is getting pissy because they're like, oh, Trump wants to give amnesty to the white farmers, but yet he's not willing to let the poor Hispanics across the border, come into the country. And it's like, well, the white South Africans are not like, they're not bringing drug cartel money into the country, and also,
are they trying to flood us illegally?
Yeah, that's the other thing too. More like you just said, they're not trying to. We're not getting flooded with with white South Africans. Comparatively either. So,
well, that's because the nature of this is actually fairly like a slow moving problem. I think that people also don't understand.
Yeah.
This is how it goes down, okay? Every once in a while, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, maybe twice a week, right? Depends. The local population is going to get riled up and drunk and start singing that song. Maybe it's a Friday night. And they know the local farmers that are ways out, and they're going to get a posse together. And by the way, I don't know if people realize this, it's legal for them to do this.
Yeah.
So they go out and they just can kill the people there and say that we were taking the land. And it's legal for us to do so, and they resisted.
Trump actually brings that up.
Yeah.
As you see.
But my point was there'd only be a couple at a time for that reason, right? It's not something that happens every day.
You understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal
who will expropriate land without compensation, whether they like it or not. If they object, they can seek refugee in America.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses. Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen. Okay.
I mean, it's in South Africa. That's right.
We need to find out. I don't know.
Those people.
Look at this guy squirming.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You to get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are you're a terrible reporter.
that may be my favorite part
of
the entire clip too. And that's like peak example of why nobody watches like corporate media anymore, because that guy's like, well, this is uncomfortable. So
let's talk about something else.
About that other thing that nobody cares about. So yeah.
About the other thing that actually fits into our talking points.
Yeah.
They're not used to these kind of issues being forced to be addressed, and neither is he, because he's gotten a pass for it, and South Africa always gets a pass for it. He knows that this is like their culture.
Yep.
He's not unaware. He's pretending to be unaware.
Oh yeah.
He literally ran on that culture to get elected.
Yeah, and I mean the only reason why he's getting why he looks ashamed isn't because he has remorse. It's because
Trump actually
it's like
proof.
Well, it's because it's like, oh shit, I got caught. That's what it is. So
for sure.
One, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing, they also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back. You ought to go back to your studio at NBC, because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace. No more questions from you. Go ahead. Go ahead, talk about that. His name is Peter something. He's a terrible reporter. Quiet. Let's go.
Trump scolding reporters is probably my all-time. That's like, if you want to make me laugh, just put on a compilation of Trump just scolding reporters nonstop. I have found it hilarious for years.
Well, like, they made it their mission to do that shit. That's the thing, is he was one of the first recipients of like fake news in the modern era.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, the New York tabloids would post all kind of bullshit. And so he's been like dealing with the bullshit, fake tabloid, biased ass reporters for like 40 fucking years. And so he handles them like a fucking master, as you would after that much experience.
Yeah. And now he's just like, I'm literally too old to deal with this anymore.
Quiet is my favorite because it works.
Yeah.
When they act like children, if you treat them like children, it like internalizes for them.
I expect you to treat corporate media the exact same way when you become President Max.
God, I wouldn't want that job.
Well, we've already said that you don't have to wear a suit. At all.
But then I gotta be president and shit. Nobody want that. Gotta go to events and stuff and like talk to fake people that I don't like. Like that would be terrible. Why would he do this? That's what I don't understand.
Because he loves the country.
Yeah. Well, I love the country too, but it seems a lot.
No, it is. Although, like, he's the only president who, like, hasn't. Well, I mean, I guess he kind of has white hair now, but like, it hasn't aged. Despite all the shit that's been thrown at him, I will admit he doesn't look like nearly as aged as some other presidents I've seen. Except for maybe Biden, who aged in reverse. Actually, he looked better coming out of office. Actually, but
he looked better coming out of office with fucking stage 4 prostate cancer. That's crazy. Think about that though. He looks better coming out of office with stage 4 prostate cancer than he did while he was president, also with prostate cancer.
Yeah.
How does that work though? How does he look better when he's like at death's door?
You know, I don't know.
I wish him all the best in his recovery.
Yeah.
Good Trump, Anna Pilarsson from EMCA in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people.
Never buy magnesium from the store. Try this instead.
Do you know what 75% of Americans?
Death.
Don't
Death. Death.
Sam, have you
Horrible
been
death.
buying magnesium from the store?
Yes.
Is that why you're getting those
I don't
ads?
know. To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing. Now, we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous, look, this is story recent. These are all people that recently got killed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are, and you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
But let me clarify that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can take land.
And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No,
nothing happens.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now been utilized.
The farmers are not black.
I
don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. And it seems like, I mean, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that, because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we are going to be doing so.
You're taking people's land away
we have not.
From them. And those people, in many cases, are being executed. They're being executed. And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that.
We are literally both on the same path.
All right. And that's kind of the end of the video right there. But yeah, I mean, Trump called him out on the carpet.
As he should be.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't able to say, no, we don't allow land confiscation. He was just thinking, that's not a government. Like, we're not, like, we didn't actually, like, look, what's happening is that it's complicated, right? That was basically his whole fucking argument there. It's like, but he's not wrong in that it is not government that is going to these farms out in the rural areas. It's more like what I said.
But the
Friday
government-
night at the bar, they get riled up. They're fucking chanting. They're mad, right? And they're like, we should go take that land back. Now we can. And then they go and they kill the people. And yes, sometimes they even get put in fucking jail for it. Occasionally, right? When the murders are so egregious that they just can't let it go. But oftentimes they don't. Oftentimes they're just like, oh, well, because it was a whole mob of people, we don't know who to charge.
Right.
So charge them all.
Yeah, it's but it's clear that the government's actually, allowing it. So no, they're not going to charge anyone.
They might not be taking like an active part in it. That's true.
But they're turning a blind eye to it.
But they're absolutely tacitly endorsing it, and in some cases explicitly. Like he said, there is a law to take the land back for quote unquote public use.
Yeah.
That's new, by the way.
Then take it back without death.
And
it specifies that doesn't matter.
Of course it does.
Yeah, but that's not a genocide, though.
Right, and also like
because white people.
Well, in
their case, it's actually because not just because white people, but because historical oppression that actually didn't occur.
Well, and also like the guy's like, well, we only appropriate lands for like public use. Okay, well, like, why then are all of the farms that are quote unquote that have been quote unquote taken back? Why are they just rotting then?
Because it wasn't that land again. There's a level of why he can say the things he says, and then you can ask that question and you're right, but he weasels out of it. And it's as simple as this: like, the government didn't take that land.
Right.
That was a bunch of rowdy motherfuckers on a Friday night at the bar, got wilded out and fucking went and killed the whole white family. And now the fucking shit's just sitting there empty. But hey, we're the government. We didn't do that. And then you're like, okay, well, could you investigate the crime then? And they're like, well, we did. And we found that we couldn't figure it out.
Well, and the other thing is people are kind of like, well, why is Trump calling this out if he doesn't have a solution? And the reason being, at least from, kind of my perspective, like more people I think need to see.
Who says that? I have not seen that, but who says when he doesn't have a solution? I've not come across that.
Well, because
he's supposed to solve a genocide in another country by bringing it up at all. Like you can't bring it up if you don't immediately have a. Zoomers are retarded, Sam. I'm sorry. Look, if you're a Zoomer or whatever, like it's okay. We understand. We know you've been bombarded with like nonstop pornography, all this crap, but like you're retarded. Welcome, brother. I also am retarded, you see. It just so happens your whole generation's retarded. That's a tough break. Not gonna lie. Unfortunate for you. You can still live life as a retard. What you gotta ask yourself is, why am I retarded? And when you say something like that, realize that was the wrong thing to say.
Look, I'm kind of retarded.
Yeah.
Well, no more.
You retarded.
We're not retarded. We're just crippled. occasionally we can say retarded things.
Yeah, we
Sam,
have an excuse.
Sam, sometimes you're kind of retarded. Not gonna lie.
I said so. I did say sometimes they say retarded though.
Yeah, but sometimes you are. You're like, no, we're just crippled. We're not retarded. Careful.
We're crippled and retarded.
Well, I'm physically retarded.
As am I.
I'm just saying. Sometimes we're all retarded.
That is true. But no, the reporter asked one of the reporters asked Trump what his solution would be, and he said, I don't know. And so I guess some people are being
Stop killing farmers. That's why he said I don't know, because that's the obvious answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, stop.
What would your solution to a genocide be when you're sitting next to the guy in charge of the fucking genocide?
Stop killing.
Hey, let me bring up this genocide with the guy. That's what he did. His solution was that.
Yeah, his solution was that, and then what it's well, what? It's one of those things. Then you turn the question back on him, and it's okay, well, what would you say? I don't know, and it's okay, so if you
So
don't
why are you bringing
know,
it up, Trump?
right?
Well, it's like saying solve Israel. What would you do about it? What would you do about Palestine? Go.
Right. There's no easy answer.
Right, and anybody that immediately has an easy answer, is full of shit.
Yeah, I have seen edgelords saying that oh well, they should reinstate apartheid, and I don't think that would be a good idea. I don't think that would be a good idea. Certainly. And that's not going to happen.
The ethos of turning the clock back isn't that bad of an idea, but I don't think you'd turn it all the way back to apartheid. I think you'd turn it back about 10 years.
Yeah, which, I mean, might be slightly better, but not much.
Right, because there's still going to be black Afrikaners that say killed the Boer 10 years ago.
Right.
That's going to continue. I'm the answer is that there's always going to be a minority of people that feel that way. No matter what you do. And then I guess the answer from the government's point of view, which is why Trump would bring it up to the fucking president of the country, is you could try and crack down on this behavior because it is technically outside the law. But they don't want to because the people in power are subtly for it. They're not openly for it. Like him, he's not openly for it. He's mad that he made that one video years ago of singing the song, That's why he looked so sheepish.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, oh shit, I got caught.
That would be like that for just American purposes. That would be like a politician secretly having a really edgy tape of them saying to kill some group of people come out. Right, that's what happened to him. He had this edgelord tape come out of things that are way more extreme than he says in public.
Right. Well, that's
it's the Hassan effect, if you will.
Yeah. God, I love that we can just I don't even follow Hassan Piker all that much, and yet
I didn't. This. But man, has this the fall of Twitch is just so delicious, Sam. I can't wait to see their next move.
I can't wait until YouTube has a similar F up.
The two biggest streamers right now is Asbig Gold and Hassan, right? And both of them are saying that they're gonna multi-stream from going forward. They're moving essentially. They were both exclusive Twitch guys that are ready to fucking bounce. Now, I'm not saying Hassan's a good guy, but he's not wrong. He's shit all over that fucking place, and he needs to get out before the shit stink hits him.
Pretty much.
But that's what's going on with Twitch. Sam, did you know that they're reporting a minimum of 50% ad revenue drop this month?
Good.
I've seen people report as much as 80, 90%.
Good.
People who hate Hassan, by the way. People who don't agree with anything he has to say, but guess what? You're in bed with Twitch, and Twitch loves him. So if you're on Twitch, you're siding with the company that loves this. They want to have your ad revenue cut. They don't care.
More ends up on Friday.
They wouldn't be getting the ad revenue cut if they did something about Hassan.
Facts.
Well, again, we don't believe in the whole, deplatforming thing. We don't think about that because that's gay. But, again, since...
No, but what he's doing is different, Sam. I'm a free speech extremist. You understand that. He is violating the law by providing material support to terror groups.
Right. Yeah, no,
Twitch has to do the law. This isn't even a Section 240 kind of thing, Sam. Twitch is liable at this point. They're backing him up.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that.
But what's happening is the deplatforming isn't happening like you're pointing out. Twitch isn't getting taken down and censored. They're reaping what they've sown. Nobody wants to advertise on the terrorist and tits platform.
Right.
Because that's all you got. Nux Taku made that joke, so I'm not even going to fucking front like I didn't steal it. But it's true. All you get when you go on Twitch is tits and terrorism. Take your pick.
Well, I mean, one of them I like, and it's not terrorism.
Yeah.
Right, but it still shouldn't be baby's first porn site.
Yeah, it's it's a 13-year-old plus gaming site. It is meant for teenagers, primarily.
Yeah.
And it's I hope that's what I'm saying. It's not a deplatform. They want to suck Hassan off. One, he's leaving them hanging by saying he's gonna multi-stream.
Because of course he is.
And then two, they're willing to sink the ship for him, and he's bouncing. Good luck. I honestly, I hope that Twitch dies. I don't even hope that they fucking get their shit together and rebrand.
Fuck Dan Clancy.
And Max, you said that you hope Hassan doesn't come over to Rumble, and I hope the same thing too. However,
he'll get banned on. Dude, we have looser rules on Rumble, but the terrorism support would get him banned. Absolutely.
No, yeah. That's what I was just about to say. Like, if he did come over here, and Chris Pavlovsky hasn't directly addressed this, but he has addressed in the past, that calling for violence will get you kicked off this platform.
Yes, it doesn't matter against whom.
Right? Yeah, Rumble staff has said that multiple times. So yeah, I don't think,
and they're not gonna play the little subtlety game that Twitch is playing with this fucking guy.
Nope.
Right?
No.
Where Twitch is like, oh well, he's criticizing it. Well, Rumble automatically doesn't agree with you, so they're not in the pocket like that. They're gonna look at it and be like, you said this, you're banned. I think
right.
I think basically his options is like YouTube and Kick. Let's be real.
Yep.
And I think YouTube would ban him probably quicker than Rumble.
Yeah, he'll go to Kick.
Yeah. So it's gonna be Kick. And hey, Kick is all right. Kick is a bit of a cesspool, but it's all right by me. They're doing what Twitch should be doing.
Is well, I mean, he could go to. I suppose he could go to Odyssey, but again,
and then no one will be able to watch him.
Right.
As much as I like Odyssey, He can't go to a platform like that. It's too small. He'll break it.
Yeah,
He would kill Odyssey in the process. The traffic would destroy them.
Is D Live still a thing, or did D Live finally get shut down?
Surprisingly, it's still a thing.
It's kicking, but
full
barely.
of Nazis, so he'd fit right in. Yeah, it turns out the alt-right, when they went away, Sam, they just stayed on D-Live. Like, we just went away from them because nobody used D-Live. That's what happened. They're there.
Well, there you go. He's got his.
We figured it out. Just go to D-Live with all the other Nazis. They love when you hate Jews on their platform.
He's got his platform. Well, I mean, I was on D-Live at one point, but like we literally got no viewers. I at least like
Hassan can single-handedly revive D-Live.
That's right. And hey, bonus, then we know where all the Nazis are at. Left, right, don't matter. They're all going to be on D-Live.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll just be a one-stop shop for like local content.
I'll tell you this, like, for a fact, if he had said the IRA-style terror organization comments he made on Rumble, he would not only be banned, they'd probably report him to the fucking FBI.
Good.
Oh yeah, well, especially like, with Dan Bongino being like a founding.
Yeah, that's why I say John Bongino is a founder on this site. I don't think they would tolerate saying things like that. He now works with the FBI.
He's literally like the deputy director of the FBI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, this site would not allow you to condone like the hypothetical. Like that's what he falls back on. Hypothetically, I was just saying that might happen.
Well,
but
yeah,
if you watch it, he's such a Weasley. He's actually really good at like coding his shit. That's why he's more successful than a lot of these other fucks.
Yeah.
He's actually better at coding his anti-Semitism than a lot of the like alt-right Nazis were. Like they couldn't chill. He knows how to chill, but now he's gotten to a point where you get so much attention that whether you're chill or not, people aren't fucking retarded when you say shit,
Is he Islamic by chance?
Oh wow, how'd you figure that out?
Well, the name, but like I don't want to assume. He could just be like some.
Yes, he's Turkish. He's Cenk Uyghur's cousin, Sam. That's why he got popular.
He's
nephew.
Oh, he's Cenk's. Well, shoot, that gets even better.
Half the time, he's literally just called Cenk's nephew.
Yeah, but even Cenk has said some of the stuff he's been saying is a bit. Like, Cenk has been trying to distance himself from that kind of extremism.
Which is wild.
He doesn't talk much about Hassan anymore, but the few times I've seen is he's just like, I think that he needs to chill.
Well, yeah, but like a part of me has to wonder if that's more because like I don't as much as I hate to say, I don't think that like Cenk is doing it for more reasons. I think it's more of like I think it's more of like, hey, Eddie, you're gonna ruin this for the rest. For all of us.
But that's what matters to him, though.
Yeah,
like you could say a lot about Cenk, but is not politics super important to him? Would not ruining his optics be a big problem for him?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, no, I'm that's.
He also has said like they support Israel's to some degree. He's not as extreme on that issue as Hassan is.
Right.
He's taking a more stance like us of where there's both sides have victims, and that's terrible. So like, no, he's not politically aligned with Hassan basically at all on this. And he's been around. That's the thing. That's the difference is Hassan's a young guy and Cenk's been around forever. He knows. But so there's some degree of pragmatism like you're saying, but I do think morally he also opposes Hassan.
Well, Well, good. I mean,
It seems like everything he says is the opposite of what Hassan says. Right?
Yeah.
He does say he supports Israel, some of the military actions Israel took. He isn't saying, like Hassan said, there were never any rapes of any of the hostages. He said the hostages are getting treated well. This is not what Cenk had said. Right? They're covering it completely differently, is my point. That's why I'll give a guy, I don't like Cenk. I don't think he's great. Right? But I do think he's come to see more of a reasonable position in the last couple of years, like a lot of people have. And then to see somebody that you've been associated with who not only doesn't come to a more reasoned position, but goes further in the opposite direction, who's family to you, who you even put on, that's tough. I actually feel for him in that way.
Well, no, I mean, look,
but this was inevitable as soon as the guy started getting that much attention, right? Because he says this shit.
Yeah, well, look, I actually, I'm not a big Cenk fan, but and I'm not a big fan of Anna Kasparian either. But I actually did give her the benefit of the doubt for kind of, saying that this woke stuff isn't, a lot of lefties turned on her famously for.
They turned on Cenk in the last couple months too for saying he would help with Doge, but like. This is why I say Cenk's morally, like the politics is his biggest thing. And that's so obvious because he said he'd work with Doge because he's been saying, I want to cut military spending his whole career.
Yep.
And somebody was saying, we're going to do that. And he said, yes, please. Right.
Yeah. Well,
and they said, oh, you're sold out. You sold out. It's like, no, this is literally his issue since as long as I've known Cenk. The one thing I'll give him is he's been A, anti-war consistently, and B, anti-military industrial complex spending and wasteful military spending.
Yeah.
That's because he's a socialist. He wants that to go into social programs. We disagree about that part. But me and him would 100% agree on cutting that fucking spending.
Yeah.
The part we disagree is what it would be spent on. Instead, I would say nothing. Put it back in taxpayers' pockets.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's what a lot of veterans would say too.
But I can also understand the point of view of let's take that money and put it into social programs because they're underfunded. I can understand why people take that position too, because it provides material benefit to people. Right.
Sure.
So I'm not opposed to the conversation, whereas some people would just immediately scream commie. I do think we need to. So I'm not not an anarchist. Right. But when we're spending, $80,000 on a fucking toilet, I think that maybe you can take a $200 toilet at the hardware store and the other $79,800 could maybe go back to the taxpayer.
Yeah, and I mean, and what I've always said is, well, can you at least tell us how you got to the cost of
well, we did a whole
items.
episode on the fucking the Keurigs, right? The Keurig stuff.
Yeah,
at CIA headquarters, they were spending like $1,500 a day on Keurigs.
Yeah,
something ridiculous like that. And they didn't even have anyone in the building. It was during the pandemic when the shit was closed. Everybody's working from home and they were just spending. That's the government though, right? It's like, I bet to some degree they even still did continue the same purchases that they had been prior, right? It wasn't like, I bet you the Keurig purchases, if you look into them, started before there was no one in the office. And maybe at that point, it was even a reasonable purchase. But then the way government works is this is how it's been done. This is how it's always been done. So let's continue doing it. And they kept purchasing ungodly amounts of fucking coffee pods.
Well, the funny thing is, so I do have a friend, Luke, who you've met, who he works in DC, and a lot of from what he's told me, a lot of offices, when they order supplies like that, they do what they do is the Amazon thing where like
they get auto deliveries.
Yeah, you get you. So basically, what happened?
By the way, I've talked to Luke. He's awesome.
Yeah,
dude. Shout out.
They
good dude.
They never So basically, what he told me is they basically never turned off their Amazon auto pay, and that's
and it's like, whoa. So the taxpayer, we're on the hook, and that's government in a nutshell, right? They'll be like, well, we got to keep the coffee order rolling in.
Yeah,
we got to keep that going, right? Because then we'll come back and there won't be enough coffee. They'll justify it. Like, they'll know that they didn't cancel those orders, Sam. That's not even that they just forgot. They'll just be like, yeah, well, that's the order. And it's in the monthly budget. If it wasn't in the budget, then maybe we'd have a problem with it, but it's in the budget. All these people, they'll defer to paper. It's the life of a bureaucrat, man. If you can find a piece of paper that says what you're doing is okay, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Even if the piece of paper is you wrote it yourself.
Yeah, and if
crayon.
If it does, and if it doesn't appear to be, they'll figure out a way to make it so.
We just got to issue a memo that corrects the memo.
And then we also have to write a memo to correct that memo.
Right.
So
that way we could do any one of the three things and still say we were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
We'll just lay out three. I mean, this is literally a government and a corporate strategy. You lay out three plans, right? You only mean for one of them to actually work, but then it doesn't work, right? And it blows up in your face. But you're like, yeah, but look at this plan. So you pull the plan that said it was okay. You say, hey, here's the plan. Oh, okay, that's fine. And so it's no matter what you do, a paper says it was okay.
Yeah.
You just have to design it that way because you're the paper. You're the paper guy. Just make a paper that says that you're doing good.
Well, that's the same.
I know
thing.
people will think this is really reductive, but like literally, this is how your government works.
Yeah. Well, and then with that paper, like that's how loopholes are created.
Exactly.
Right. And they'll just make up like random serial numbers, too, for all those.
Well, that's another thing. Yeah, bury you. Okay, so now I've showed you how they bury themselves under a pile of paperwork so that the paperwork protects them. But the other way they do it is to bury you under a pile of paperwork so that you can never find them.
Right, and also they'll never tell you what it means.
Yeah, just go look it up. It's and it's in some archaic law book. It's not even online.
I've been told I've been told like dealing with Medicaid and whatnot. Oh, Sam, you need to go find form 2-5-F95683. They basically give me a serial number, and it's like, okay, so and, yeah,
next,
and next.
Yep, here's the form you got to fill out, and you're like, oh well, where would I get it from? Next.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you're lucky, you'll get, oh, the line to get it is over there. Then you got to go wait in that line. Then you got to fill out the form in triplicate, of course. Then you go back to the first line, and they're like, oh, your second copy of this triplicate form that you filled out, you actually spelled this word wrong. So go get another form, fill it out in triplicate. Go wait in that line, then wait in my line, and yeah, they play the shuffle game constantly.
That
especially like one way that you'll get the shuffle game the worst is if you do FOIA requests for anything ever.
Oh yeah. Well, also, I have to say too, like, traveling with my wheelchair now in like airports has become, like, post-pandemic, has become a major pain in the ass because, like, it's not even good enough that I like check everything in the night before. I have to fill out paperwork at the airport now to get my chair checked because the
Look,
flight.
you look like a terrorist. I'm sorry. This happens. It's obvious. Everybody knows what you're up to.
Well,
The
more.
chair is just a cover for your secret operation.
I mean, look.
I want to thank our TSA for keeping us safe from degenerate scum like this guy over here. I hope they at least detained you a little.
You're not pointing at me. You're actually pointing at the guy off screen, which means that you're pointing at more, which that's true.
They cavity searched me, goddammit.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure
I don't
more.
know. I look at you coming in my. I'm a TSA agent now. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I look at you and I'm like, that there boy is trouble. And then you come up with your big, goofy fucking smile, probably some shades on, like, I'm here. And oh, Lord, it's going to be one of them days.
No, because when I get to the TSA line, my luck is usually like, I've been doing this for 28 odd years. Can we get this over with?
No, we can't. Why are you trying to rush it? You hiding something?
yeah, no, that's
Guys, get the x-ray scanner out on this wheelchair. I don't trust this guy.
What? Why does he already have his arms out to his side? We haven't even instructed him to do that yet. Why is he?
I'm gonna ask you to put your shoes back on, please.
and then take them off
again. Put your shoes back on, unassisted.
Yeah.
Put your shoes back on. Oh wait, no, take them off. Take them off. Why? Because reasons, sir.
All right. You skipped a step. We don't be skipping steps here. We care very much about safety and freedom.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go on break. You're going to wait here in this holding cell. I'll be back.
Oh, honestly, there have been times where like they haven't even put me somewhere like elsewhere. I've just been like, there's that spot where you're still kind of in the line, but they put the wheelchair, people in that's like kind of off to the side. I got left there for like 15 minutes once. Well,
segregate us wheelchair people.
That's
yes,
right. Well, hey, that segregation I'm all for. It's not racial based, you see.
More. Can you believe this guy?
Hey, think about the benefits you get for cripple segregation.
How about we segregate the Giants?
No, you actually have cripple segregation though. That's why you get special lines for shit. That's what and it's a benefit. It's good.
Yeah, no, it is true.
You even just mentioned they have a special area just for cripples. They don't got a special area for giants.
I do enjoy the special segregation in concerts and theme parks.
Yeah, sometimes I imagine it's a massive pain in the ass. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you're usually allowed yourself and one attendee, so when you've got a significant other, it's very beneficial.
True.
They don't. I don't think they allow that anymore at Disney though, because too many people abused.
Yeah,
that.
because the able-bodied people are fucking assholes.
Hey.
Yeah.
So you say they're able-bodied, but I seen them and they're 450 pounds.
That's their own fucking fault.
How able is that body?
They're able to open mouth insert food. It's able enough.
Well, by that logic, so are you, sir.
Okay. That's the thing. If I'm going to use that standard, I'm okay. Don't give me any special.
Well, if we're going to use that standard, you're doing a lot better than the 450-pound guy, just period, like flat out.
Not to mention, I'm less than half of that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm literally about a third.
I would hope so, because I'm just slightly over half of that.
No, the thing of it is, though, is right
now I'm about 150.
I've been told that I'm a lot. I've been told I'm a lot taller than people think I am, and it's like, yeah, I mean, because I'm sitting down most of the time. I'm skinny, but I'm not short. So
I get told that too on the internet. In real life, people are just like, "Damn, you tall as shit."
Unfortunately, I have the problem of being crippled and short.
I mean, well, think of it this way, though, more, you're not as short as Ben Shapiro.
Well, and hey, there's all those like non-crippled short guys that like complain they can't get laid, so there's that.
And this short guy has gotten more than his fair share.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. That one always weirds me. Like, I was actually shout out. I was talking to Shmuley this morning, and we were talking about kind of the difference of like young people's mentality on some things, and particularly like relationship style stuff, right? Like, well, like one thing is like the young people's obsession with the idea of age of consent in like a fashion of like, oh, we gotta get the 20-year-old guy that dates an 18-year-old or something, right? Whereas like in our day, you would probably, at least I speak for me, you might know somebody who's like 19 dating a 17-year-old and nobody fucking cared, right? And Shmuley proposed a great point to me that these people have had like full internet porn as long as they can remember, like easily available. And that they might in fact be looking at all sex and relationships through the lens of pornography. And it would make a lot of sense why these guys can't get laid if that's the case.
Well,
I would agree.
Well, same is true of a lot of women. I mean, what's funny to me is I just saw like one of those YouTube shorts pop up where this young woman who I'd say she was attractive enough. She was talking about oh my God, you guys, I can't all of a sudden I can't seem to get as many swipes on or matches on this dating app, and it's funny because like every single guy in the comment is like, "Huh, welcome to being a guy on a dating app." So,
and it's amazing that they don't try something different either.
Yeah,
I don't know. I do think that the rise of internet porn probably feeds into some of those mentalities around the age of consent stuff, because like I'll say it like this, is like, why didn't we think about the 20-year-old dude dating a 17-year-old. Why wouldn't that be a problem for most people in our era? Well, because we never consider about porn. We're not considering, like, are you making child porn? No, they're just dating. Now, there's also the ick factor. As the older person gets older and older, it gets creepier. But these kids will freak out about a 19-year-old dating a 17-year-old.
Well, it's not just the internet porn. I mean, that's part of it, but you're also missing, though, the fact that, like, you have all of these crazy cat ladies that have all these young men, and they're constantly, and they've constantly been going on, like, you need to get consent for, like, every single step of the way.
Yeah, well, I
And,
wasn't saying it was entirely porn, because there's a lot of other factors, but I hadn't even considered that they do look at relationships oftentimes through the same lens you view pornography through. Right?
Right.
Where like I'm saying, like me saying somebody dating, they immediately think of, but is the sex legal? And I'm like, are they even having, like, they're just dating.
Right.
I see two people dating. They're very similar in age, a few years apart. Me and my wife are a few years apart. Right? She would have been, oh my God, I'm about to get myself canceled, Sam. My wife was a freshman when I was a senior.
And so?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I mean my first girlfriend in college, she was like, I think 2
Yeah, but
years.
I mean, my wife now, whom when I met her was 20 years old. If we had met in high school and dated, people would think that's creepy.
Right.
We are fucking 4 years apart. We're basically the same age as far as that kind of thing goes. We're of the same fucking era. We would have been in high school at the same time, but I do see that younger people would find a problem with the 3 or 4 year age difference. Well, there's a problem with the 3 or 4 year age difference, and maybe even, beyond, when you're a teenager. Because like I said, she would have been a freshman, I would have been a senior. That's a huge difference. Okay? Now, well, I won't say that because she doesn't like to hear about when she gets to 40, because she's not 40 yet. But for the longest time, it was like, we're just both in our 30s. That 4-year difference means literally 0.
Right.
Obviously she's younger than me. So she likes to bust my balls about being old. But yes, 4 years that age difference does not matter at this point in time, or even when I met her.
Well, the truth is she's not going to turn 40, Max. She's just gonna turn 35 again, infinitely.
Maybe so. But my point is a 4-year age difference. I see these guys. I watched a video where they were trying to do a fake catch a predator type thing, except that they told the guy that she was 18 and had him meet her at a college. They didn't say she was underage ever, not once. And then they were there to confront this pedo who was like, yo, I'm here to meet an 18-year-old college girl. What the fuck are you talking about? And then they beat him up.
That's fucked.
Yeah. And if you look at the logs, they literally said she was 18 like multiple times. And again, even if they didn't say that she was 18, Sam, if you were going to meet a girl at a college that she's supposedly in, you probably assume.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't assume it's a teenager. Like, but young Zoomers, they see things in a weird way, and they also want attention, and they got to beat up a pedophile that's not even really a fucking pedophile. It's not.
How they also see it is 18-year-old man is a man, but an 18-year-old woman is a girl still.
Yes.
That's true. And like, yeah, the reason I would mention an age difference of like 2 or 3 years is like a lot of times in high school, yes, a 19-year-old will date a 17-year-old. My God. Is that the end of the fucking world?
I don't know how many times back in the day when I was still in high school, back in Max's day, when a senior would date a freshman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. There were seniors who were dating freshmen
all the fucking time.
A lot.
All the time.
Right. But my point is by the time my wife and I met, right? Though she would have been a freshman when I was a senior, by the time we met, that wouldn't fucking matter because she was 20.
Right. You were both adults at that point.
Yeah, and we're just both in our 20s, right? So it's like you don't think about it like that.
Right.
There's not a few year difference that where it gets a little weird when you're in your 20s. You're in your 20s, I'll say this. I think it's perfectly acceptable for somebody in their 20s to date somebody else in their 20s.
I agree.
Yeah.
Even if it's 29 and 21, go for it.
Right. Yeah. There's no, like, people might even say, "Oh, that's a little much," but I don't see a problem.
Nor do I.
Nor do I.
So it's like they have these weird things. I wanted to maybe talk about this a little bit. ICP allegations, Sam. You heard about this?
Well, is are the feds gonna be asking me about you, Max?
No, of course not, because there's no allegations. Okay, so TikTok, you guys know TikTok, right? It's great platform.
Yeah.
Totally not full of shit constantly. So TikTok discovered an interview, not even an interview, a radio show called Loveline. Sam, have you ever heard of Loveline?
Yes, of
course. What was Loveline? Could you explain?
Loveline was a radio show hosted by Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. It was basically like a dating advice.
And it was a bit edgy.
Yes, it was
a comedy / advice show. Dr. Drew would give serious advice. Adam, being a comedian, would give comedic or normal guy advice. And then they would have a guest on who would also give either comedic or entertaining advice, right? That's the premise?
But yeah, basically. And they
would talk about... See, I loved Loveline. Loveline was like... I think that was my favorite thing at that point in time. In the
Loveline was just shit back in the day.
They still do they still kind of do a similar thing with the Adam and Drew podcast, but that's
sure. But I'm talking about a time, Sam, where it was a thing and everybody listened to Loveline. Like, there wasn't as much entertainment slapping you in the face either, so it was kind of the hot thing at the time,
right?
And so it was pretty cool as a fan of ICP that in 2000 they came on the show, and during their wildly successful appearance, which then they made 5 more and are still friends with both those guys to this day. So clearly those guys didn't think that there was anything wrong. A girl had called in. You know, they have call screeners on those shows, right? Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
A girl called in who claimed to be 16 and had a question about the way guys would look at her boobs because they were very big. So ICP, being ICP, started making jokes about this. They are now being canceled by TikTok as pedophiles.
That's gay.
What? Okay. This is the other thing I kind of want to rant about. Not everyone on the internet is a fucking pedophile.
Bro, just because Jay and Shaggy on an entertainment show talked to a girl who called into an entertainment show for entertainment purposes, and they made some jokes about her titties. This girl was not even in the room. She called into a radio.
Well, this is the whole thing.
Also, she's the one that brought up her titties. I think that's important.
I agree.
Well, Max, you're victim blaming, sir. No, but in
also that woman is now like, she was 16, right? She's 40 years old. for the record. She is now 40 years old.
Yeah.
Now they're getting canceled for this. And the funny part is Shaggy even points this out in a video he did. They're calling it allegations. And he's like, motherfucker, what allegations? I did that shit. I went on Loveline. I made those jokes. Everybody thought they were very funny. That's why they invited us back. That's why I'm still friends with Dr. Drew and Adam. After all these years, because we were very funny. They liked having us on the show. Nobody had a problem with it until 2025. They went and dug it up.
Of course. I've said this before, but like, unfortunately, pedophile has kind of become like the right's version of Nazi, where anyone I don't like is a pedo.
You think it's just the right? This is coming from the left, brother.
Oh, and the left too.
Yeah, the left are canceling ICP, calling them pedophiles. It's not the right.
Well, but yeah,
that's why you hadn't heard about it.
But that's what I'm saying too. Like, pedo is being overused as well as Nazi, and I actually have more of a problem with pedo being overused in that way to describe someone they don't disagree with, because like that's like an actual thing, whereas Nazis aren't so much anymore. But
well, and then another thing is they have a very strong history of being anti-pedophile, to the point, Sam, ICP has no less than 3 songs that are explicitly about murdering pedophiles.
Based?
Yeah. Crooked Preacher Killers, which is about killing priests that touch little kids. To Catch a Predator, which is like if you were Chris Hansen, but a serial killer.
Based? Also, maybe a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not endorsing a Hassan-style organic movement of serial killers, but, hey, if you were a serial killer, it would be nice if you just only hit pedophiles, right? Like, people would probably be okay with that. I'm not going to lie.
Might even let you off.
Depends. It depends, but maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible you could even get away with it. And that's how much people hate pedophiles. And rightly so. But that's why we got to just not call any old asshole a fucking pedophile.
Right.
Because it completely defeats the purpose of the fucking term. So, no, I don't think ICP making jokes about titties 25 years ago is cancel-worthy. Nor is it an allegation, because like he said, we did that shit. We were on that show. We said those things. There's video of it. What do you mean allegation?
Also,
are you allegationing a crime? No. So then what's the allegation here? The allegation is that they said some shit. He's like, yes, we said that shit.
Also that there's this whole thing I've heard from Zoomers, and it mostly comes from Zoomer chicks, where they're like, words are violence, and it's like,
not only is our words violence, but silence is violence too.
Bitch,
yeah,
slap the shit out you.
Yeah, words are
violence. Did I just commit a violence?
I mean, according to yeah, supposedly.
Well, so did Redman.
Yeah,
I'll slap the shit out you. That's a jam right there. Slap the shit out you by Redman. Check that one out. Sam, we come from a scene where there's songs about killing people like regularly and being a serial killer, right? Like that's the Juggalo horrorcore underground scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they think that talk about titties is etchy. That's too far. You guys could spend 30, actually they just crossed 30 years. You guys could spend 30 years of your career talking about all the awful ways you want to murder bad people. How dare you talk about titties 25 years ago?
Now
but titties are nice.
Now you're starting to see my line of thinking, Max. Titties are more.
You should be stopped from talking about titties sometimes, Sam.
Titties are more offensive to some people than violence is.
I don't know why.
What about talk about ass, Max?
They glisten in the sun. They glow in the moon. They wiggle and jiggle and bounce. Like, what's wrong with titties?
Titties and ass.
Nothing.
I'm just checking. It's worth it.
Yeah, just make sure that. Well,
Ow! Knocked over half my shit.
I did see a shadow behind you right after you checked.
I didn't even know what that was.
I like titties.
Still worth it?
Paint
For
me
titties?
Paint me like I like turtles kid and say I like titties. I like titties.
It's like
that's a more soundbite right there.
I like titties.
Also, well, who doesn't?
I don't know. I'm not gonna test that because there was violence involved. So apparently, she doesn't like titties.
How can you not like titties?
I don't know, man.
Well,
my head hurts.
Well, you aren't the one committing violence, Max. In fact, violence was actually committed against you. So
what the hell? What even is this?
It's a file.
It's a foot.
It's a file.
A foot file?
Yes.
Why did
I got it.
Why did I get hit with a foot file? But
I don't know.
What's? It's just titties.
I like titties.
I suffer for my art.
You do. Although I have a feeling that you also suffer for just existing sometimes.
Maybe.
And I know how that feels, Max. You just want to be a goofball. You know.
Yeah, I just can't help myself, you know. I just see a joke, you know, and I'm like, you shouldn't say that. I'm like, yeah, but it's funny.
So I'm gonna say it anyway.
And then you get stuff thrown at you.
Yeah.
And for $19.95 a month, you can save Max from getting something.
He says as they encourage it, as then he uses it as a monetization method.
Now all I need is to pull up the arms of an angel, you know. We could just have like.
For just $10 a month, you can watch this guy get shit.
Max, I gotta send you this in the DMs.
Oh no, we're not. No. You gotta actually pay to pick what to throw, and nothing sharp.
No.
I just sent you a quick clip involving Yay.
You sent him a quick clip involving gay?
Yay.
Oh, EA.
Kanye.
Oh, yay. Okay. It's still all the same.
Yeah.
It's a mixture of lolcows and HH.
Oh, why did a bunch of them dance to it, throwing up Romans like idiots?
You gotta see the clip. It's like a minute long.
Well, I can't see it, you see, because I'm waiting for Sam to bring it up. And he's looking. I know he's doing it, right? But then there's the time where you got to fill the air until he gets it done.
Right.
And that's hard. So I'm going to talk again about titties.
Titties and ass. Ass and titties.
Don't even start.
that one time John Cena talked about ass on the network.
All I'm saying is there's ass
and titties. Ass and titties.
3-6 Mafia.
Is that a cheat code or?
Yes. It's the best cheat code in the world.
That's right.
It's the cheat code to make any straight man happy.
It lets you play as DJ Paul.
That is true. Oh.
Titties, ass, and titties.
I mean, look, if we're going to be quoting offensive 3-6 Mafia songs, we cannot let this opportunity pass without talking about slob on my knob, like corn on the cob.
And ass and titties.
Alrighty. Well, so suppose that we have... Oh God, why is Darkside Phil on my screen?
Well, that's why it landed on my timeline.
Of course.
Because he's the peak of gaming.
He's the best boomer in the world at gaming, didn't you know?
Oh, yeah.
He likes hookers. I heard he likes hookers.
Well, that's the thing, Max. If he liked hookers, that would make him at least somewhat interesting.
Yeah, well, that's all I know. I know he jerked off on stream. I know everybody that hates him supposedly are his biggest fans. And they're the whole reason he exists to this day. And that he likes hookers. That's all I knew. Oh, and he's bad with money.
Anyway, let's see what this is about.
Man, these people took my kids from me, then they froze my bank account. I got so much anger in me, got no way to take it out. Think I'm stuck in a matrix, when I fuck's my nitrous. Yes, I am a cook, I like when people fuck on my dick. The shit that I'm posting on Twitter, they telling me, hey, don't say that. How niggas can't see me in public, I'm driving an all-chrome Maybach. With all of the money and fame, I still can't get my kids back. With all of the money and fame, I still don't get to see my children. Niggas see my Twitter, but they don't see how I be feeling. So I became a Nazi, yeah, bitch, I'm the villain. Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. All my niggas Nazis, nigga, how Hitler? How Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler?
First off, I still hate how catchy that is.
We all do.
She put her hand in my pants. She got the world in her hands.
Mersh must be feeling left out because all his friends were in that video.
Right.
Even Ralph, who yes is still alive, even he made the cut.
Oh.
Even he made the cut.
Yes, I booed him being alive.
Oh,
as you should.
Yeah, just boo that man.
But yeah, I just thought a quick minute clip was worth it because it's funny.
Yeah.
Some people got a lot of time to find all the cringe clips to do that. So shout out to somebody spending the time on a joke. I always appreciate that.
As do I.
Like when you write a retarded song like that right? And then spend all the time to not only make it production-wise top tier, but also then film a video for it.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's like, say what you will, but like, yeah, the
commitment to the bit.
I'm actually like kind of disappointed that he took it down. So
when the fact is that if you just counted the streams on like the bootleg re-uploads of it, it's still the #1 song. So he could take it down. It's not really going away.
And that kind of makes it funnier. Is you know, he's kind of like, I know this isn't the case, but to me it's kind of like, to me it would kind of be funny if like, if he deleted it and tried to do the whole thing of like, what are talking about? I didn't do that, or something like that. So
no, I think it's funnier. He's like, I am no longer with anti-Semitism stuff, so I took it down. And then everybody just has to cope with that because they're gonna be like, "Nuh-uh, you still are," you know. And that's fair,
right?
That's fair,
right? And that's what.
But he probably is actually like, he probably did get that out of his system. I mean, how could you not?
Yeah, well, and like,
also he got to see his kids, which is what caused that.
Yeah.
He saw his kids one day and he was like, I'm done with anti-Semitism, bro.
Well, maybe they should have let him see his kids in the first place.
Sometimes it doesn't take that much to heal a man.
Yeah. All the fucking Groypers must be on suicide watch, though. He plays with their hearts, doesn't he?
He does.
They get so happy, and then they're like, but then he turned on us.
I mean, he
was using them as props for his art piece.
Good, they deserve it.
Yeah. Why do you think it's them? Why do you think it's like Sneeko and all these fucking retard lolcows? He couldn't get people that take themselves seriously to go along with this shit.
Of course not.
Of course not. So he got clowns to go play fucking circus with him.
I don't know. I just, Ye's timeline is kind of interesting to look at too.
Well, they don't understand the things he says on Twitter.
Right. So I'm showing his timeline so that perhaps we can. Oh yeah. So
that's the concert I talked about with Ye and Drake, the Free Larry Hoover stream.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah. They raised a bunch of money for his legal defense, which seems like it kind of paid off now.
Yeah.
It sucks because I'm talking to such like a white audience that nobody will understand, but like Free Larry Hoover is a thing I heard since I was a kid, you know?
Yeah. Well,
it's one of those cases of a guy that they all basically consider it's unjust to keep him locked up, but like only black people seem to have heard of it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Until Trump.
I think.
And a lot of people will look down because he was a gangbanger. I'll totally like. He believed in redemption and stuff. I think Sam just got nuked.
Uh-oh.
And he wrote a book on
they nuked our guy.
See, he created the Gangster Disciples, right? And his book was like From Gangster Disciple to Disciple of God, I believe it's called.
Nice.
And like his whole thing was on sort of de-radicalizing gang members, even in jail. right? Like
That's
he
cool.
completely rehabilitated, and then they slapped, like I said, a whole bunch of other charges on this guy so that they could keep him locked up longer. He was kind of a symbol of, like, I don't know, like black oppression, pretty bluntly.
I mean, the more I look into it, just the incarceration state in general in this country is just really fucked up.
And he was one of the biggest people speaking about that from the inside. Right.
Yeah.
And that's why they didn't like him. That's why even the Obamas, you figure, like I say, Drake is throwing this concert. Obama knew Drake. Jay-Z he says free Larry Hoover on a bunch of his songs. Right. Jay-Z and Obama were tight. The Obama administration wanted no part of it, specifically because Larry Hoover spoke out against the state of the prison industrial complex.
Yeah.
Which is a thing Trump has spoke out about as well, which explains the sentence commutation, right? I think in Trump's mind, why he's doing it is because this guy's been speaking out against the abuses of the prison system for a very long time, right? And he deserves some credit for that.
Yeah,
he also changed a lot of young men's life for the better. Just because when he was 19 years old, he, as a gangbanger that was involved in that murder, he's done a lot of good as well. I don't know. Maybe somebody can't ever forgive a murderer, I guess. I can understand that. But, you know, when you're young, some things seem like a better idea than they would if you were 20 years older.
Yeah.
And when you're from the mean streets of fucking Chicago like he was in the 70s, you know, it's bad now. It was just as bad in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it kind of chilled out in the 90s, 2000s, if anything, and it's kind of gone back. But in the 70s, it was just as bad. It was gang warfare out there, except they had less police, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
And so for a young black man to join a gang, it wasn't an impractical decision for him, right? But then when it leads to, you know, the escalation of crime, and then he ends up incarcerated. He's been incarcerated since 1975, Sam.
Holy shit.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure since 75 was when he was convicted. The murder was in 73. So 50 plus years in prison.
Longer than any of us have been alive.
Yeah. And, so I stand on the free Larry Hoover side. I know a lot of white nationalists get mad about that one in particular because whatever. But, yeah, like this is a thing that a lot of black people are going to take a second look at this because they've been yelling to free this guy for my whole life.
Well, hey, what don't white nationalists get mad about?
That's the only group of people I find that slanders him. Pretty much everybody else admits, like, okay, he had a rough upbringing, rough past. He was a gang member. But since he's been working in prison as a minister and he wrote books to help young men get out of that lifestyle, by the way, not making any money off of it because he can't.
Right, because of the victims.
Right. It goes to Pookie's family, which is fine. You know, like Pookie, that's the thing is Pookie's murder was like the mainstreaming of black on black inner city gang violence for the first time in this country. That's why it's relevant to that community. Right. That was the first big instance of a national case of this low level street gang crime. Right. And much like in the modern day, it got set off in a similar fashion where people used to talk shit about Pookie if they were from GDs, Gangster Disciples. Pookie was a vice lord, to be clear. And so the vice lords would all be like, yo, shout out to Pookie. And then the other people would shit on Pookie. And that escalated the war between the two, right? To the degree that got really, really bad and violent. The same thing has happened in Chicago with Tuca. You guys might have even heard me mention the fucking phrase just because I think it's funny, smoking on Tuca.
Yep.
Well, so Tuca was another gang guy, I believe also a vice lord, and he got killed. He got killed at a bus station, shot, right? And so I'm not sure which side will say smoking on Tuca, and then the other side would like praise Tuca, but that started the war that we're seeing in Chicago now, more or less.
Interesting.
Gang wars start off of some shit like that, right? Because the one side feels like Pookie is on their side, so he probably didn't do nothing to deserve it, and the other side is like, oh yeah, but he was involved in shooting my cousin or whatever, so it was one side sees it as retaliation, the other side sees it as unprovoked, right? And so that war just doesn't end. It's basically similar to the fucking Palestine-Israel conflict in that way, right? Is that one side always sees themselves as infallible, you know?
Right.
And, and that's what Larry Hoover wrote against, the tribalism. Specifically, his famous quote is, you know, all these young black men in the inner city are all still, you know, black. Right? They can call themselves vice lords or gangster disciples, but they're still young, poor black men in the city, and they have more in common than not. You know? And he's right.
Yep, absolutely.
You might be repping a different set, but you're actually in the same boat. But that problem is that boat sort of leaves that community to fight for scraps.
Yep. And so then Trump, Trump pardons him federally, but but at the same time, Trump is still racist for calling out white genocide in South Africa. What a hell of a news cycle, ladies and gentlemen.
Also freed NBA YoungBoy. Again, you guys, that might not mean much to you, but to a lot of the young black men in America, they know who that is. They know his music. He was very popular.
Yeah.
He was a top 10 artist before he went to jail, so they're gonna know that. And I don't know, would a racist do that? Would it even be worth it?
No. Because if he was a racist, his own side would shit all over him for it.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here saying, yeah, the guy it sounds like he got set up on some bullshit gun charges the same way Wayne did. And that's why Trump pardoned Wayne. Weezy got off from some gun charges because he got set up by the feds. I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Those pesky feds.
The specific instance with Lil Wayne, I believe, is that he's not supposed to be around guns because he's a felon. And somebody in his entourage, one of his security guards, was carrying an illegal firearm unbeknownst to him, and he got 5 years for it.
That's fucked.
That's why Trump pardoned him.
Damn.
Because he knew Weezy, too. Like, there's pictures of Trump and Weezy together. As weird as that might seem to people, it's true. Trump's friends with a lot of rappers, or he was.
But Trump is totally racist.
Well, he's still friends with Weezy. He gave him a pardon. Of course, you think Weezy's going to be like, fuck him? Same with Kodak Black, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, Lil Wayne and Kodak Black are not political dudes.
No, but at the same time, like all these liberals are like, how come so many black men voted for Trump? And it's like, well, stuff like this.
Things like that.
Yeah. Or how about the criminal justice reform, you know?
Yeah.
That he passed last time that they're aware of, you know?
Couldn't possibly have anything to do with that. Instead,
or it couldn't possibly have to do with when he was president. It was a lot easier for a young black man to get a legitimate job in a lot of these places than it is under Biden, or even now it's starting to get back.
Yeah.
That's because of opportunity zones. We'll get that back.
Also, again, folks, I don't know why everyone is flipping about the tariffs. Yeah, they're not great now, but China can't.
China will break before we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it seems to be turning that way anyway. Like economically, a lot of people might not see a direct correlation right now to better times, but like inflation is the lowest it's been in 5 years. Surprisingly enough, 5 years. Isn't that weird?
That is wild. That inflation has been that high for that long.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, it's weird that Trump comes in and it just shoots right down. Almost like his policies have something to do with it.
who'd have thought?
No way.
Also, the energy policies, I know people have seen at least a slight decrease in gas prices.
Yeah.
That's only going to accelerate because that's not even coming from that's coming from turning a couple of refineries back on that were regulated off by Joe. Once we start drilling, which would probably be by January next year, you could see a drop in gas prices. This is my prediction because we'll start drilling by the end of the year. By 2026 or 2027, you're going to see gas prices under $2 consistently.
Is it possible to restart Keystone?
Yes, it is absolutely possible. It's going to take some work. And also, we have to renegotiate part of the deal with Canada, but that's what they're doing. So, yes, it is absolutely possible. It won't be the same. It will be rebuilt, essentially, but the infrastructure is still there. So, basically, they'll be rebuilding all, like, the regulators and things, right? The important bits. But the pipe themselves are brand new, and they're still there. So, yes, it wouldn't take very long to rebuild.
That's good to know.
And I think that's what's happening. And it's crazy because if you go back on my Rumble, when I was doing like a daily news thing, one of the articles I covered a few years ago had to do with gas prices, Sam. And I predicted at that point we had $5 gas. This was before I started your show even. And it was right when Biden started president. I said, you're going to see it hit close to 10.
And holy shit, it did.
Yeah. Well, now I'm telling you, you're going to see it under $2. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. We'll have to see how that turns out. So,
I mean, that's the only real outcome one could expect from the drilling, right? Is that it's going to drive gas prices down.
Yeah.
So how much? Well, the average right now is like $3.50 to $4. So me saying it going under $2 isn't that huge of a leap. That's why I say it. Like, that's my logic behind it anyway. And I hope that when I'm right, somebody will remember it. Probably not. But if I'm wrong, somebody will definitely clip this and tell me about it in 2 years.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. So, but anyway, any other topics for tonight or anything more? I know you've got stuff to promote for Bits and Bones. What's on?
Bits and Bones, 10 p.m. EST Friday night. It's going to be a really interesting show. One of the topics we hit on earlier tonight. We'll probably go into more detail tonight. More detail on Friday.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got a few gaming topics to all save for Bits and Bones as well.
Yo, you guys should definitely bring up that the EA is going after a mod for The Sims that's called DEI Remover. If you're not aware, look into it, but we should talk about that.
Yeah, I'll look into it.
Yeah, I'm looking into that. Also, we finally got an actual reason why the James Bond game franchise got killed 10 years ago, pardon the pun, and it's a lot gayer than you might think. So tune in for that. Other than that, still gonna do my New York stream for members only, probably tomorrow. I actually got the RMTP thing set up with Prism Studio, so I might use that. But anyway, and then sandwich makers on Saturday.
Yeah.
Probably. You anything else I should know about as far as RTO?
You write books.
I do.
Haven't
Night,
mentioned that yet, so I figured I should point that out.
yeah, no, I do write books. Night of the Vigilante has been selling really well these past few months.
That's good. That's a lot of guys out there with higher IQs and bigger dicks and more women wanting them.
That is true. And I'm writing the fourth John Ryder book right now. Almost finished with the first draft, so I can hopefully announce when book 4 is coming out soon.
Nice.
Which will probably be in July. So if you stuck around, now you know the month. So
ooh.
But anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in, and take care, and we'll see you down the line. Oh, also, speaking of authors, Jake Widmer of the Chris Foley series will be joining me on Monday's show, so tune in for that. And also, if you didn't get a chance to watch my Memorial Day episode,
it was good.
Please do so.
Yes, and, it was very good.
Thank you. So, and yeah, folks, that'll do it. So, take care and talk at you down the road.
The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Thank you for watching the Whitfield Report live on the Right to Offend Media Network. Make sure to check out Sam's books on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. You can follow Sam on X at SamW_NGC and the Right to Offend Media Network at RTO Media. Like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And until next time, God bless. God save this great nation. God, freedom, legacy, in that order.